Okay, so here is our follow-up on our first episode, teaching the backup. So if y'all have watched the first episode that I've done with Spirit, I was trying to teach him to back up, or I was introducing the concept to him really. So I've wanted him to learn about steady pressure, which is I just hold or put a finger on my halter and he'll back away from that pressure. And I also wanted him to learn about rhythmic pressure, which is I either wiggle the rope and he'll back away, or I just simply walk towards him and he'll back away. So we've done a good amount of practice on that, and I think he's ready, or I should say I know he's ready for the follow-up episode for my little diary where I want to keep track of his training. So we are going to start with the steady pressure. In the first episode, when I applied steady pressure, he threw his head up in the air, got kind of tensed up, and he tried to push into me rather than getting off of the pressure, simply because he didn't know that if he backs away from the pressure, it's going to go away. He just didn't know. So we've worked on that quite a bit, and I think he's gotten pretty good about it. So I'm going to bring him this way a little bit so that we have more room to back up. So I'm just going to use my index finger here, and I'm going to simply just touch this halter here, and there he backed away from it and backed away, and he's not necessarily straight yet, but that wasn't my concern. That'll come later down the road. For now, I just want him to understand that if he just backs away from this pressure that I apply, which there's barely any pressure, I'm barely touching this halter, and he understands like, oh, if I'll just back up, it'll go away. So he has gotten really, really good about that. Again, he's not necessarily straight yet, but I'm not too worried about that just yet. That'll come later. So I just kind of try and straighten him out here. And again, I actually put my rope this way, so hopefully he can see better that way. So I'm just gonna use my index finger, apply a little bit of pressure here. There's a little bit of resistance, but then he's like, oh yeah, I remember. Okay, here we go. I'm just gently holding this, and he backs away from it. So I would say we reached our goal. There's always more work that can be done or things that can be better, but this is really what I wanted for the kids to just simply touch that halter here, and he just, backs away from it. So perfect, yay. So then the next backup I wanted him to learn is rhythmic pressure, wiggling the rope. So I'm just gonna bend forward here, start wiggling that rope, and you see him backing away from that. Again, he's not necessarily straight, but I've also taught him that I always want him to give me two eyes. So I can kind of straighten him out with just looking at his butt. So again, here we back up. I'm gonna bring him back into the camera here. But I am just very gently wiggling that rope. Bringing him forward right now. Back into the camera. So I just lean forward, just gently wiggle that rope, and he just backs away from this pressure. I don't have to whip him anymore. I don't have to wiggle a whole lot. He just understands the concept that if I start wiggling that rope, I want him to back away from me. So just show you one more time. So just very gently wiggle that rope and have him back away from it. So we reached that goal as well. Good job, Spirit. Then I had one other backup I wanted him to learn, which is simply backing out of my space when I get into his space. I want him to just get away from me. Or what the kids think that's really important when they just, you know, sometimes they run around, they just kind of like stumble into him, and I just want him to know that, oh, if something's falling into you, like my children, back away from it. So here we go. I'm just gonna bring him back into the camera. And here we go, Spirit. So I have him stand here, loosen my rope, and then I'm just gonna, with enthusiasm, I'm just gonna start walking towards him, and he backs away from it. And that's exactly what I wanted him to learn. So I'm gonna bring him back in again. You see him licking and chewing there. He understands the lesson. He knows what I want from him. Just gonna straighten him out again. There you go. Go forward. Okay. Slacken the rope and start walking towards him. I am not touching him anymore with my whip. I am just walking towards him. All right, also reached our goal here. So I want to do a little test here with him, his first little pattern, since he's accomplished his 3 backups. I have 3 cones set up here, and I just want to try and back him through those cones. Have not done that with him yet, and it's also Friday the 13th in 2020. So I don't know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna give it a try. So I'll bring him over here. And I'm going to start by the first cone here. I hope I'm still in the camera. Yes, I am. All right. So I'm gonna start with the wiggling. I'm gonna just wiggle, straighten out his butt, wiggle, straighten out his butt, wiggle. Good. Straighten out his butt, wiggle. Good. Butt, wiggle. Good job, Spirit. Butt, wiggle, wiggle. Butt. Good job! Yay, he did awesome. He didn't knock any of the cones over, and he really just went with my body language, and he kept giving me his 2 eyes, which that makes me control how he moves backwards. So he did great. I'm gonna bring him back over to the start. And since he did so good, I think I'm just gonna try and doing the same thing with just walking towards him. So I'm gonna get him back into the start here, starting position. Straighten out my ropes. Okay, and we're gonna start walking. Okay, and I'm gonna move his butt by just looking at his butt. Walk. Oh, yeah, we knocked over a cone, but that's okay. Here we go. Move his butt. Move his butt. Back. Good, Spirit. Move his butt. Move his butt. Yay! Good job, Spirit. That was awesome. He did everything I wanted him to do. He even accomplished his first little pattern here. Only knocked over 1 cone. I think that's pretty awesome. I'm super happy with this little guy, and I'm excited to see what else we can do.